and 4 minutes before the polls close. You have an hour and 4 minutes to get yourself over to a voting center. Vote in person. Slide your ballot into that machine. Watch the ticker count upwards. Our election coverage is going to go deep into the night. Hopefully, we'll go deep into the night because this thing will be razor close. Razor close. John Machico joining me in studio. Matt White, Turning Point, will be joining us a little later. Alan Autry, former NFL quarterback, actor, former Fresno mayor, will be joining us. Jim Franklin, Pastor Jim Franklin, will also be joining us later on in our unmatched coverage here. John, I don't listen, man. You know, you get something in your gut. You ever get something in your gut where you're like,
yeah. Pasta. Yep.
I was going to say, I don't know, but I don't know. I feel something.
You feel a good vibe about
I do,
this.
but I don't know if it's the caffeine, you know, when that wears off, you know.
Well, and I give you some credit because we've had situations where you're like, I'm not feeling too good about this.
Right?
And, you know, you were right. So it's good. It's good that you have a good vibe about this.
Remember 2016. Remember 2016? I keep talking about 2016.
Yeah.
People weren't out there saying, I'm going to vote Larry Elder. I'm going to get this jerk. Well, back then it was Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
You had a lot of silent voters. You had a lot of mad, silent voters.
Yeah.
All right. The polls were wrong too, by the way. I mean, they were showing
unbelievably wrong.
They were wrong.
Yeah.
So could we be in a situation where it's the same thing? We won't know until those numbers drop. That's why I'm saying I'm getting a good feeling because it's almost reminiscent of there's no way we're going to win. There's no way we're going to win. You got a lot of people that are upset. You know, one thing Hillary did do, and that was pretty much make herself known, make herself everything she did known. We knew all about her. We know everything Gavin Newsom has done to this state. I mean, we're intimately involved.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
So you can't underestimate that. And here's the other thing. And I keep talking about slide this in the ticker. You know, slide this in there, right? Slide your ballot in there and watch that ticker. I went to one voting center. All right. Remember, there's not very many. Boom. Put it in there. I was number 167.
Okay.
And this was 245.
Yeah.
167.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
No.
But they also gave me the option. They're like, do you want a paper ballot or do you want the electronic version? I was like, oh no. Give me the paper. You give me the one where I got to sign with blood. Like I will, you know, that's what I said. No, you give me the paper one. And then 167. I was voter 167. People don't turn out. Democrats aren't good turning out.
That's what I'm hoping for.
You have that aspect of this too.
I'm hoping that they think, you know what, this isn't even a big deal.
Yep.
We're not even going to come out. That's what I hope.
Oh yeah. We got this in the bag.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of been that might be the double-edged sword.
It might be.
It might be like, hey, he's fine.
That's a good point.
He's got it.
Yeah.
You know, there's no, or hey, or it could be like the young kids we talked to on Fresno State campus today. There's a recall election going on. What? Is that today? I know it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Make sure you go vote tomorrow.
It sounds crazy to say college students, dumb as a stump, but
yeah.
I mean,
it was
that's
funny.
our future, people.
It was funny because I was talking to Matt White, Turning Point rep here, and he was like, "Man, Guillermo, we got to spend a lot of time here. We got to educate these kids." And I was like, "Well, I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid."
I know. Remedial politics.
He wants to do, and that's a great idea. He wants to do a change my mind table. So he wants to put me out in the campus square. The big O sign says "Change my mind."
Oh, so there's a famous YouTuber that's been doing that.
Yeah,
so, yeah. So you do the same thing.
I could do it. I could
Crowder.
do it. It is
Steve Crowder.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it is. Great guy.
Yeah, boy. You know, for speaking his mind.
Yeah.
You know, they want to take him off YouTube and the whole bit, but I mean, he had a huge following.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, John, we're less than 2 hours away from the numbers dropping. You and I have said this. The polling isn't in our favor. You know, it's as bad as, plus 20. Gavin Newsom plus 20 on that first question of keeping his job. We don't even get to question 2.
Right.
But we have to remember that the numbers that drop will primarily be, hopefully, right? Because it's like, well, I thought Republicans, do the mail thing. So I think if we're within 10 percentage points with that first drop, we're in good territory.
I think that's a good number.
We're in good territory.
Yeah.
We're in the teens. I think that's surmountable. You start getting into the 20s.
It's tough.
And you start getting into, I think they're going to drop it like 30, to be honest with you. There's going to be a 30-point spread, I believe, at 8 o'clock. I think there's going to be a 30-point spread. And It depends which counties drop first. The Democrats, let me tell you this. The Democrats, they're smart. They know which counties. They've instructed L.A. County. They've instructed the Bay Area. Hey, listen, you do everything you can to count your ballot. You count the numbers. You get those machines ready. You have them. You get the internet's working. You drop the numbers. The Democrats want to be in bed, tucked in by their mommy.
Yeah.
By 10.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they want to discourage any late voters.
Oh yeah,
to come out.
Yeah, and they want to call this thing.
Yeah,
they want to call this. I don't think. Remember they were calling 2020 pretty quickly. Yeah,
I remember sitting here with Jim Franklin, and they already called Arizona. Like, huh? Like, remember that?
Hasn't even closed.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I had just come back from Arizona, and everybody was like, I don't know anybody voting for Newsom. Yeah. I mean, not for Newsom, for Biden. And they were closing the polls, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It was such shadiness.
So John, listen to this here. Early this morning, I was scrolling, checking out the news feeds.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom campaign. Calling it early. So that 7:30 a.m., the polls were, I don't even think they opened until 8. Except when I was a poll worker, we opened up at 7. So I think it was 7. I think they opened up at 7.
I think 7 o'clock.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. So sorry, half an hour into the polls.
Yes.
Newsom's team says there's no scenario they lose.
I heard that.
I was like, wait.
There is a scenario.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Get outvoted. That's a scenario.
There's
right.
no scenario. Like, you don't believe people are going to go vote?
That sounds a lot like 2016.
It does.
Right?
Yeah, it does. And it's also pretty fishy.
Yeah.
Because listen, do you think, let me ask you this, and I don't want to be diabolical, but there's 58.
Oh, I thought the same thing you're about to say.
What?
Go ahead. No, when they say that there's no way because there's plan B, C, and D, and we'll have that, these late votes. We just found these piles of ballots in somebody's trunk like a week from now.
Yeah.
Right? That type of thing. Well, by the way, is there a restriction? Like is there a limit as to like when is the voting done?
I think it's 8.
No, but
postmark. It has to be
does it have to be 3 days from now? Are they still counting ballots?
Oh, they're going to be counting ballots for a long time.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no. They're going to be counting.
That's what's discouraging.
They're going to be counting ballots.
October 5th. Oh, we found another ballot. Stop it already.
Trust me, if it's close. If it is close. Oh my.
Goes forever.
You know what? We don't know what happened to the voting machine 23A. It went offline for a while and it came back and all Gavin Newsom. It's going to be one of those things where if it's close, I think it's going to be just like 2020 when there's going to be so many facts, so many factoids that we're like, wait a minute, that's not adding up. Just like with 2020, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it just didn't add up.
Right. So in Pennsylvania, when they found these 3,200 ballots, all of a sudden, and how many were for Trump? 6. Huh?
Yeah.
What? Like that's mathematically impossible that would happen. Well, they just accepted it as fact.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, and you want to tell me that there's nothing fishy going on here?
Yeah.
And stop it.
And don't forget, county clerks, it's an elected position. All right.
Yeah.
These are elected positions.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of Democrats that are in charge of the recall election happening in their county. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Gavin Newsom knows where he's. This comment from the Newsom team saying that there's no scenario they lose this election.
I agree with you. That's disturbing to even think that they would say that.
They know the numbers.
Yeah.
They know where they're at. That is disturbing to me because it's like, well, how far ahead are you? Because
it's not that.
You don't think?
I just think that they have plan B, C, and D, and whatever it takes, we'll just keep throwing stuff out there until we get it. And they feel they're empowered to do it.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's going to take an overwhelming number. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it will.
So can you explain something? What happens next year? Because 2022 is when the real election would have been.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever wins tonight, I mean, we're voting again next year.
Yes.
So I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, hypothetically, if Elder was to win, then Elder or Cox or whoever it is, they have a year to kind of prove themselves as far as we're going to make changes, we're going to make them quick, and the people have to see that this is working for us to shore up things for 2022. Not counting the Democrat machine that is going to just try to roll over with whatever schemes they have to do that. So, to what Lisa was saying earlier, because I think what you're saying is we win either way based on next year. But the marketing and the message has to be in such a way that's overwhelmingly powerful. And I don't know how they do that, because if they keep doing it the way they've been doing it, it's not going to work.
I don't listen. We're up against the break, but I want to get Lisa Moreno. She's back in studio with Lisa Moreno. She's helping getting the party started. 7 p.m. election party. There's only one place you need to be, and it's right here at our Manchester Center studios. We're going to be having the official Larry Elder election campaign party right here.
Larry.
That's right. Larry. I want to talk about what you said, and Larry Elder wins. What happens and what happens to the party if he doesn't? Lisa Moreno will be joining us here in the next segment to talk about that, and then later on, Alan Autry, Jim Franklin. All right. Betty, Larry's got this. Prayers. Amen. Amen. Let's see here. Sending positive vibes from Clearwater, Florida.
Nice.
Send us your governor.
Yes.
Vicky, please.
Can we borrow DeSantis? Have him just rent out here. That would drive them crazy. They would all just like scatter like roaches on the floor at night.
If I was running and I win, one of my very first phone calls is to DeSantis.
Right?
How do I make this work?
Right.
You know, like how?
Fly out here, please.
And you got to learn from Trump and make sure that you put the right people in place versus trusting certain Democrat.
Right.
You can't do that.
No, for sure.
That's a lesson that should be learned by
intimidation. Bring DeSantis, bring Abbott. Fly in Governor Noem.
Ronnie D shows up. I'm like all over that board.
You see, just by talking about our leadership, Guillermo, and you alluded to this earlier, how we do have a bench. We have a bench.
We have a deep bench.
Oh my goodness, of presidential, vice presidential candidates that will just, resonate across the spectrum.
Yeah, we do. There's a deep bench on the Republican side, but it doesn't matter if the marketing
is not there.
Because again, politics has become theater more and more, to the point that it is strictly theater now. Nobody's even caring what's going on with them.
See, and we live in the social age media, of social media, where it's all about, just like you just said, just all about theater, graphics, talking points, as far as just snapshots. But I was out there with the recall campaign leadership, and when you said, how do we pick up the pieces? This is how we'll pick them up. People out, they were talking about how much they've been harassed, how fearless they are when they're out in the community, and how that just gets them going more.
I don't know. It has to resonate. It has to be personal to the voter. Mm-hmm. The voter has to feel something where, like,
connection. There has
I have
to be a
skin
connection
in the game here versus I don't. You know what? I'm surviving day to day. Like, they have to know what's on the other side of that hill that we're climbing. A
very wise person once said, "You may not be into politics,
but politics is into you."
John Machico.
Johnny Machico.
I'll never forget that.
That's very true, though, right?
30 seconds.
It's very true.
It is, because, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. The Democrats, they're all the same. The Republicans are all the same. I stay away from politics. But you know what? Politics will not stay away from you.
It's not going to stay away from you.
10 seconds.
We should bring that up.
No, you should. You should. But I'll bring it up that you said it.
There we go. You got 1 hour. 1 hour, 40 minutes.
Get out there, people.
Get your friend, get your friend's wife. Bring everybody. Everybody.
Get Rufus the dog. They don't care.
They don't care. As long as they got to, I don't even think they got to have a pulse. As long as ballots show up and they're signed, sealed, delivered.
Put his paw print on there. Get it done.
Yeah, that's do whatever you got to do. We got to take our state back. We got to save California. John Machico, Lisa Moreno joining me now. Later on, Alan Autry, former mayor of Fresno. Jim Franklin from Jim Franklin Live will be in studio too, breaking down the results as they come in. We got two. The left is supposed to be reserved. The television on the left in the studio is supposed to be reserved for Communist News Network, CNN. And then why do we have two liberal stations giving us the news?
It's funny you say that, because I thought on the right it was supposed to be
the right.
But I'm looking at this going, I don't know what the station is.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's CBS, so we have a CBS on the right. They were talking about the Latino voter turnout, and there's obviously, a lot of Latinos in California, a lot of Latinos are going to go to vote. There's going to be less Latinos coming out. That's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because they don't go out for special elections. Just plain say they don't come out for special elections. They're not motivated to vote in this election. Latinos show up when the whole neighborhood gets involved. Like, oh yeah, I got to do it.
Right.
So they should have been getting the whole neighborhood involved. They should have been having some fiestas and siesta, whatever. You know, I mean, come on now. Like, we were just talking about this.
Right.
They've got to feel the skin in the game. They've got to put some skin in the game and feel what's going to happen if they don't vote. I mean, the Latino community, more than probably any other community, is so family-based and family-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, look, this is what's going to go on with your kids if you don't get out and vote because of the amount of debt that's going to be piled on them. Do you really want this for your kid? You know, that kind of thing.
I know Democrats, John and Guillermo, that are voting in this recall, and they are not voting for Gavin. I know independents that are voting in this recall that are not voting for Gavin. I can tell you that equally as many Republicans that I know that have expressed their choice to switch out Gavin and put in, I know equal amount of Democrats that are voting against Gavin Newsom. So again,
for you,
tonight
God's ears.
Tonight is a win for us because it's going to be so telling. We need to dissect the results of this night again and again and again until we know every thread, every vote, every demographic, every age group, everything.
Listen, I got the ballot in front of me. All right, I got my ballot in front of me that I'm going to keep. I made them print me another one. So I'm looking at this. Do you think there could be any confusion tonight? Because you were telling me, you were telling me if the liberals lose, what are they going to blame? They're going to blame voter fraud. No, I think the liberals lose. They're going to blame the ballot. They're going to say, well, you know what? It wasn't necessarily. It was so confusing. Because I'm looking at it right here, and I mean it is. Listen, it's cumbersome.
There's no confusion. There's one question on the front that says
for you and
yes or no.
Yeah, but there's a lot of low information voters, and if you don't speak English and you only speak Spanish,
they have it there in Spanish.
Well, they do, but I mean it's pretty obvious. But I don't. There might be a.
I would love to have that problem tonight that we win and they have an issue with it. Have at it, honey. We have so many lawyers that are going to line up to defend this on our side. Need I say Harmeet Dillon? You know, she'll be all over this. I mean, bring it on.
But do you think? Bring it on. Do you think that and they talked about this really early on in the recall? Like it's just confusing. Recalls are confusing. Like people aren't going to know what to do. They're just not smart enough to answer two questions.
How do we pose the question?
Look, the very first question is a yes or no question. It's as easy as it gets. Do you want him in or do you want him out?
Let me read you the question. Number one. And if you vote, you better know this question because you should have already voted. Shall Gavin Newsom be recalled, parentheses, removed, because as I found out at Fresno State, kids don't know what recall means.
Should we call him again?
I gotta save it. I gotta save this one. I gotta save this one for you. Gotta hear it. Shall Gavin Newsom be recalled, removed? That's what recall means. Removed from the office of governor? Yes or no? And then in Spanish, debería ser destituido. And I don't even know
destituido. Destituido.
Removido. That's confusing to me. I mean,
removed.
If you can't read it, go back to the English.
No, but I mean, in Spanish, I mean, and I'm saying this in all honesty because I mean, you do have voters. A lot of Latino voters are coming. They don't speak English. Right. They're going to look at it. Is that it? Debería ser destituido, removido, Gavin Newsom del cargo del gobernador. Is that pretty simple?
Absolutely.
It is?
Absolutely.
So there's no confusion.
No, I would have just written sáquenlo, sí o no.
Sáquenlo, sí. I like that.
One
Get him out.
word.
Yes or no.
Sáquenlo, sí o no.
I wanted some confusion, to be honest, because I'd be like, oh, I thought yes was to
and it was
keep
no,
them.
and no was yes.
I know. I actually think that the way that they worded that helps us.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to because I mean, if you're a Latino and you go in there and you're like, oh, of course I want to keep Gavin Newsom. Yes, I want to keep him.
Right.
Well, no, yes means you want him recalled. So I'm kind of, I'm really hoping that, hey, that
there is a little bit of confusion on that
because you're talking about Republicans not doing a good job marketing. I mean, the Democrats have pretty much that their campaign sign is no, stop the Republican recall. they also haven't done a good job marketing, I believe.
I loved
to the
their
Latino
marketing
community. Oh.
because it worked in our favor.
How?
It was so poor. This is I have.
Yeah, it was. That's what
I'm
I'm
so
saying.
glad
It's-
you mentioned
it's-
that.
it's very
This
poor.
is one time, John, that I love their marketing to our benefit. They kept on saying this is a Republican recall. Every ad on the radio station when I was at my place of business said the same thing. I am so happy that they did that. This is a Republican recall. Everybody knows this is not a Republican recall. That was the best messaging for people to say, no, it's not. We know it's not. We know this is against Gavin because of what he's done to our state. Even the most uninformed voter, logic says if this campaign election would have been held 6 months ago,
Game over.
We would have had it game over. But
2 months ago, it still would have been game over.
True. But I still think, John, that we are going to be pleasantly surprised tonight. Pleasantly surprised.
Lisa,
I'm optimistic.
I think that when they said this is the Republican recall, they take Republican to, you might as well say Trump recall. Like they think that Republican is a bad word to Democrats, and therefore that's why they named it like that.
It is. It is
Yeah.
a bad word.
But I mean, in a way where it's like,
To them.
it creates an emotion that they want to just vote against it because it's
It's a Republican.
Republican.
Yeah,
And
don't-
I'm not sure that, I think they did the right
I
thing.
was a Democrat a long time ago before I saw the light. And when I think about how people are going to hear this is a Republican recall, this is not, I don't see them being able to effectively message. And that's why I got a call from a person, live person, about 7 days ago that said, may I please speak to Lisa Moreno? And I said, hi, this is Lisa. I'm calling from the Association of something. And I urge you to please consider to vote no to recall Gavin Newsom. I said, okay, click. So that person is going to tell you that I said okay. So when you think about the polls and people getting called, I'm not going to sit there and talk to her for 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't have that time. But I think that when they talk about polls and the likelihood that we're going to lose this, I don't believe it.
See, listen, the Democrats have done a darn good job marketing, and I think they've done a darn good job marketing in this case. California is on fire. Literally and figuratively.
It
is on fire.
It is.
I mean, we can't control our homelessness. We can't control the price of gasoline. We can't control the cost of housing. Businesses are shuttering. The cost of food. California is literally on fire all around us. And the Democrats successfully, Gavin Newsom, just like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, never had to talk about the actual issues.
Yep.
They just went straight to, hey, don't look over here. Actually, don't look around you. Don't even look at your kid who's at home. You just look over here. Bad Republicans, they're evil. You vote with us. I hope this is not a new thing, but this would be the second election in a row for us where Democrats no longer have to talk about the issues. They no longer have to address reality around them. And Republicans are bad. That's all you have to know. And that's really sad because I never heard Gavin Newsom defend his position on anything.
No.
The only thing he's come out and said, hey, COVID, well, I followed the science. I followed the science. That's it.
All they're talking about is Trump.
So,
because they associate Trump with a bad word, and that they're just that was their marketing plan. That was it. Keep bringing up Trump. I'm sorry.
So we'll see what it shows tonight, John and
we'll
Guillermo.
find out.
We'll see if that's still resonating and being effective. If we have a margin that is very questionable as to them, why their campaign marketing didn't work, we know where our job lies. We know what we have to do. We talked about it earlier. We have to more effectively message to take away from the narrative of the left and more on the issues.
This is where a debate would have been great.
Yeah.
Right.
But like Elder didn't even debate. He's like,
No, but Newsom needs to debate. Newsom needs to somehow try to defend his position, and he never had to.
yeah.
That's where.
Depending on tonight, John, I don't know that would be the case anymore.
Oh no, because the next election, yeah, he'll have to because it's an actual.
Hopefully,
it's not
there
a
won't be a
recall.
next one on him. But yes, if
he loses, do you think he tries to come back in 2022?
No, Gavin's done.
Really?
Yeah, I believe Gavin's done.
You think so?
If he loses, I mean, he would have to lose by 50, 51 to 40. I mean, to come again. He loses, Gavin Newsom's done. He wins, he's going to the White House. I have no doubt. You tell me, change my mind. Gavin Newsom wins tonight, he's going straight to the White House. I mean, it's only a matter of time
I can't
before he's in the
fathom
executive branch. No, he is.
That guy be a leader.
Well,
I
you know-
can't fathom the seat.
Well, you know what?
If
If Gavin Newsom does win and he tries to trail himself to the White House, you go play with the big boys, baby, because now you're not in California. You're up against Governor DeSantis, Abbott, Cruz, Rubio.
He'll
now
get
you're going to
eaten
play with the big boys. You're not over here in California by yourself in your own game, in your own backyard. So you know what, Mr. Gavin Newsom, you tail yourself up there because you know what? You're going to play with the big boys, and the big boys are going to take you on. And then you're really going to know what it is to have to defend who you are.
Well, look, Kamala Harris.
Don't get me started.
It's another realm for her. No, she's lost.
He would get crushed.
Yes, thank
going
you.
up against DeSantis or Cruz.
I love it. If he thinks he's going to easily be able to just skidoo himself in there because he's Nancy Pelosi's nephew, good luck. Now you're in the game with the big boys in California. There's nobody. You're a bully. You're the only one on the playground. Good luck. Go up there go against our Republicans nationally. Good luck.
Try it, man. Compare Florida to California. The two governors debating against each other.
Nice.
No, Newsom
nice.
Just
bring
crushed.
it on.
Yeah.
Let us show you who we are made of nationally, not statewide yet, unfortunately. But you know what, baby? You go play with the big boys. Now you're in a big playground.
There you go. Wow.
That would be it.
I think you feel very strongly about that.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, exactly.
We could just get our voters to feel like that.
Yeah, right. Well, no. Listen, speaking about voters, hey, you can turn off our station while you're in the polling. This is the only time I'm allowing people to just take a break from listening to us. Get in there, please vote. Watch, look around as well. If you see anything awry, you need to report it. EIP has done a fantastic job. We haven't even talked about them and the poll watching that they've been doing here in Fresno County. The Fresno Flea, the Fresno Flea had an article yesterday. They were so like, why are people just showing up watching it? Well, that's what you want. I mean, it's called
the job.
It's called transparency. It's okay when people show up to make sure everything's on the uppity up. But go vote, please. Get there.
Yeah.
And I'm predicting this is the last recall. This is the last recall you'll ever see in California history.
Why do you predict that?
Because the Democrats and the left are going to change the threshold. They're going to change the threshold. What is it, like 12%? I think it was like 12% of signatures gather. That's all you need to go to a recall. They're going to change it. There's not very many states that even allow recalls. The Democrats, they got burned in 2003 with Gray Davis and Arnold. They get burned. It doesn't matter. They're getting rid of this. They do not want to be in this position again, ever. They're going to get rid of it. This is the only time you have. This is it. The Democrats are going to change it. Get to the polls. Get to the voting centers now. Do it. Do it now. You still have time. We'll be right back here on the Best Talking Time. Matt White from Turning Point joins us to talk about Fresno State students and our audio that we got. Come on in, Matt. Try to see. There we go. So Jose can get you framed up. Belinda, good to see you.
Yes, I remember.
We said collective Biden, but here we are. Can't put him. Yeah, no kidding. Gavin will move to a higher position. Yep. Praying it's not rigged. I live in Florida here all my life. People ask me, where are you at? Care about California. Grew up thinking California is a dream place, and look at it now. Yeah, no kidding. All right, let me get the clip from the Fresno State. We're on in 30 seconds.
I can get my laptop cover.
Yeah, go for it. Get comfy. You good?
I know I was gonna be on camera, so
You look good, man.
yeah, I appreciate it. You were all suited up, and I hadn't showered, and like since.
You got an hour and 13 minutes, counting an hour and 13 minutes. Get yourself to a voting center. Get your significant other. Right now, I don't care what they are to you. Whatever you want to call them, get them there. Get your kids there. Grab everybody. Get to the polling center. Make sure you vote. Yes on question 1. And Larry Elder for question 2. Really excited and honored to have the future in studio. Matt White, Turning Point USA Director for the Central Valley region. It's an honor to have you in here in studio and to talk to you. You give me inspiration and hope because, everything's on, burning figuratively and literally in California. It's always good to see you, Matt.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity to come on, Guillermo.
And then we got John Machico.
Yeah, man, look how sharp he looks.
I know, man. This is good. This is good.
You
Had to
look,
dress up for the show,
you look a little presidential.
He does. Hey, send him to the White House, please.
I know.
Right now. We need
better
him.
than what we got for sure. 20 times over.
Matt White, give us a 30-second intro into what you do here in the Central Valley.
So pretty much I help support students up and down the valley, promoting American principles up and down from all the way down to Bakersfield, all the way up to Merced, and all of the Central Coast, so outside of the valley too. So we have a very big scope of students involved. We have about 15 chapters right now, and yes, students fighting for freedom on their campus.
Hey,
so,
man, and listen, you got a great leader, Charlie Kirk, right?
So we're out there. So
we're Charlie Kirk.
Yep. So on the front line. So yeah, it's really fun, and just being able to support our students every single day, and yeah, try to take back America.
Yeah, he's a political evangelist, John.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've met him before. No, absolutely.
He's in the belly of the beast. We were there together. We went to Fresno State today. We survived. We survived. We made it out alive. And they're great students. They really are. We were talking about low information voters. We got a lot of low information students, and it's not their fault. I mean, come on, they got student loans, they got their degrees, they got their majors. Politics might not be top of mind, right?
True.
But it better be.
Yeah. Well, as a good friend of mine said, it's like we gave our kids a car without teaching them how to drive. And that's, I think, the current state of our campuses. And you're looking at voter turnout, the amount of ballots between 18 and 34. People aren't voting. Young people aren't voting. And there's a lot of things that impact young people. We've talked to a few students today. And one of the big things is, hey, I'm a commuter. I go to campus, but gas prices are $4.50. And it's like, that does impact you. And I think we have to go out and educate and be able to tell people, hey, this stuff, there's systems and stuff in place that we can have. This is an example of it. And our students just need to be more educated on this. And that's what I'm trying to do on our campuses.
No, you're doing a great job. Let me ask you this. You've been on campuses now since school started. You've been on there. You've been up and down the Central Valley, Fresno State, Monterey, right?
Yep. Bakersfield.
Yep. What is the general consensus on the recall? Do they come... A lot of chatter on campuses about the recall?
It's not even so much on the recall. I think a lot of people were more against, in terms of hot topics, vaccines, mask mandates. Most students don't agree with those two things. They're like, hey, you should have a choice. And most students are kind of in that category. They're like, hey, you should have medical freedom. And I think that's the governor's been able to push enough students are like, hey, they're actually getting involved because of it. We had a student on last week, Lauren Gleason, with the vaccine.
Yes.
So that's just one example of students like, hey, there's issues going on our campuses, and it's kind of crazy. I haven't heard as much in terms of the buzz on the recall when we went to campus today, but
that a lot of students just didn't know what was happening.
Yep, they didn't even know there was an election. That's a civic duty as citizens. But when you look at how many people register to vote in our country and in the general election, it does kind of make sense when we look at the college campuses. The demographic just changes. So
so the college campuses you pretty much you're in charge of. It ranges from where to where? Tell me again.
All the way from Merced to Bakersfield. And then all the way from Monterey all the way to Santa Maria.
And could you describe, because we're talking about pretty much the political spectrum of these campuses. Fresno State is the more, and I thought it was a more liberal campus, but it's kind of not.
Yeah, no, I've seen just the last few weeks in terms of people that we've been able to sign up and have been coming to meetings. A lot of people are sick and tired of the authoritarian type things we've seen on our campuses, and it's been really really inviting. Actually, a lot of people are more interested in like, how can I get involved?
See, that
How
makes
can
me
I
feel better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, there's some
absolutely.
hope there, and especially here in Fresno, I thought, hey, Fresno State's going to be a little bit more liberal. But as I've gone around the state, I think we have a good base of students here that really want to be politically engaged and want to know more about our country's founding. And yeah, we have tons of events coming up this next semester of just be able to pour into these students and, hey, this is how our government works. These are why we have our rights. And then whenever they go to vote, it's between them and God at the end of the day. So,
and it's about the fundamentals, right? Because we don't go in there and we're like, look, just like a Christian doesn't go like, you need Jesus now, or you're not going to be saved. You make the decision now. That's not the way you approach a lot of these students, because they do have the stereotype of Republicans. I mean, you go up to, I mean, you and I were on campus today. We said, hey, we're from the radio station. We'd like to interview you. I mean, if we were like, hey, we're conservative Republicans, let me ask you a couple questions, they probably would have been like, get out of here. You're like, I don't want to talk to you. So it has to do with the way that you approach them, correct?
Yep. No, and it's exactly just starting off with basic issues. Hey, do you support the First Amendment? What are the 5 different parts of the First Amendment? Do you support the Second Amendment? There's different things and ways that you can approach. Do you love your country? And I think that's something that we've seen is students. That's a starter question, because hey, we can at least agree on that principle for the most part. But that's even been controversial.
I was going to ask you what's been the response to that? These kids.
It's a mix. I think some students are like, I love my country, but I don't think my vote matters or anything that I do matters. So they just, it's kind of the apathy on that. But then on the flip side, you have students that are like, yeah, I don't think the country is going in the right direction. I don't like the country, and we should just scrap the whole thing and start over.
No
way. Kind of
just
the marks. Yeah, just scrap it and let's start over. So that's the two perspectives I feel like in the extremes. So yeah.
John, what are you laughing over?
Scrap it and start over?
Yep. So
just get rid of the $30 trillion debt. Let's just scrap it and start over.
Yep, exactly. So
well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's a sign of the times, right? I mean, you have something, you just start over. I mean, it makes sense.
Sure, we just start over. Forget about it.
Yep, forget about it.
There you go. All right, Matt White, Turning Point. All right, so we were on campus, Matt and I, and we're going to go to our first cut of audio. And this is a young girl.
I cannot wait to hear this.
Young girl, and she's was health science major?
Yeah, I think pre-health.
Yeah, pre-health.
Yeah.
Pre-health.
Versus post-health. Okay.
Pre-health. And so here's some of the audio from her.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. So do you know there's a recall going on today?
No.
You know who Gavin Newsom is?
No.
No? Oh my gosh.
I don't think I'm gonna win this gift card.
No, you're gonna get it no matter what. So who's the governor?
The governor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Governor. He's not as good looking as I am, but he's like.
Yeah. I don't know. I gotta think.
Okay.
Through.
A, Gavin Newsom. B, Joe Biden. C, Kamala Harris. No. Okay.
No.
California's got a lot of how do you think California's doing?
Like how?
Like just like it's doing good. Do you like California?
Yeah, I like
excited?
California.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. You like all the the political world?
No, not really.
No.
Well, that was obvious. Not really.
So and it's a lot of these students just don't.
Well, think about it. You gave her three choices: Newsom, Harris, Biden, which tells me that she didn't know who the president or the vice president was, because by default it would have to be Newsom. So she definitely is not into politics. And again, as you said, college students, they got a lot on their mind, just trying to pass tests.
That's true.
But by default, she's.
And
So
I think this is an over consensus of, hey, we've let our children down and basic civics. And I was looking back today on when I learned civics in high school. They covered it in 8th grade, and then we covered it one time in my senior year of high school. So I'm like, from freshman to senior year, you're not touching any founding documents, not talking about basic values.
Right.
And we expect when they graduate, they're 18 years old to go out and vote to be productive citizens. And the last time they touched the material was 8th grade.
Yeah. And where do they get their news? I mean, these kids, they're on Snapchat, TikTok,
Instagram.
and they're not talking politics. They're talking about, the latest video craze that,
And then it's more, I think we're in the soundbite culture, whatever the headline is, that's what they repeat. And that's what I see is, I know we were talking to another student. It was just, everything was free education, Bernie Sanders, like those ideas of, hey, they sound great, but in principle and the way they operate, we just know the history of that. So
You're right. It is a headline thing. I mean, nobody's going to read the article. They're just going to trust whatever that says, which is, we know it's pretty ridiculous, but that's the way the culture is.
Yeah, no, it is. Matt, you get a good.
Do we have any others?
Well, not. Well, I do want to. I want to air the other ones. I want to.
Okay, because this
look at John
this
wants
is-
all of them. John
this is
wants
really
all-
good.
John wants all of them. No. We're gonna air the other ones. What time? How much time we got? Yeah, in the next hour, we'll air the remainder of them. Matt, you've been through a lot of elections. You've been on some campaigns here locally. What's the general consensus you have about tonight? You think we're going to be able to pull it off tonight? You just give me your straight up blunt opinion.
Gestalt.
Yeah. What do you feel in your gut?
Yeah, I think just personally, I think it's just been kind of interesting to see just working on a campaign this last season. And I know you got to come in with some skeptic kind of outlook in terms of the amount of different things that are a little questionable in the political world in terms of our systems that are operating. We're like, okay, in terms of voting and stuff. And I think I'm idealistic that, hey, that we can recall him. I just know the polls and everything, of course, is against us. That's just the way the state is. But I think, hey, we might be able to pull off tonight. I think I put it in God's hands ultimately. So whatever happens, God's plan, that's kind of where I'm at. And we kind of have to sit with it no matter what happens. So I think we just got to keep fighting. And this is just one step. This isn't just the end all be all of California politics. We have a long battle ahead. And this is just one of those steps.
And that's a good point, because I think a lot of conservatives just want to pack it up and go home and say, look, you know what? We lost the state. We will never get ahead. And I think that's going to be the hardest part for me to do today. You know, if we lose tomorrow and going forward is keeping that energy alive here in this state, because we tried our we try our best. That's another conversation for another time. And we're going to dissect this, I'm sure. Hey, did we do the right? Did we have do we have a poop in a group? Did we have it together as a party? So, but I agree with Matt in the sense that you're right. I mean, this shouldn't be the end. Like, if it doesn't go our way tonight, don't be mad. We just gotta.
We have a lot of work to do. And I think it goes back to that student that spoke to us earlier today. Is we have a lot of work to do in education, and that's kind of where my heart is being able to get education reformed, because there is clearly an issue in terms of you don't know who even the president of the United States, your governor of your state. There's a little bit more of an issue at hand, and that's not just students. That's even adults, 18 to 34. The people that are voting, they're not coming out.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
we have talked for the last couple of hours. We talked about how do we get voters to feel like they're skin in the game and that their vote does matter and that they're going to know. We may have to get into the next segment, but how the marketing? How do we market to these kids? And I want you to think about that, please.
We'll be right back. Matt White joining us from Turning Point. John Machiko. Don't forget Alan Autry, Jim Franklin coming up here on our election coverage. We'll be right back here on the Best Talk in Town, Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
You got to try my special waffles. Now, if you're looking for something particular special for your that's lunch, then you just fool yourself and you're going over to my place. Some kind of lunch. Toasty sandwiches, salads, and chili, and of course, my famous catfish and chips. Now that's some fine. I'm done. Once you get the first time and that champagne, I mean, both places.
Oh, it's so close. I feel it in my gut, John.
I swear, I hope you're right.
And Matt, and I don't think it's just the caffeine. It could be. They got me.
Too much coffee, Guillermo.
Right? What size is this? This is like the
That's like the equivalent of the super large.
Is it Trenti?
Yeah.
Is it Trenti?
I don't
even know the Italian. Why could they just big, small, biggie?
Es muy grande.
And there you go. There you go. Matt White, John Machico, appreciate you guys coming in. Hey, it's almost an hour and 8 minutes away from dropping the first results. And Matt, you were how many? Can you pull that number up again? How many ballots have been returned?
So right now, 43% of the ballots have been
43%,
returned. So
yeah.
we have about 12,800,000 ballots still out.
We know what cemetery they came from?
All right. We sent out 22 million. So
There
we
we
have
go.
a lot of ballots out there.
We got a lot of ballots yet to come in. John, we were talking about our time on campus, and you were saying, how do we message to the
Yes, they're the future. I mean, after all, they're going to be running the show. So how do we message them? How do we market them in a way that they can be engaged?
Yep, and I think the best way to do it is the way we do it on campus, because we're on campus 3 to 4 days a week. We're tabling. We're trying to do visuals. We're trying to illustrate and things. And some of the stuff we've done recently, of course, is we get some big inflatable out there. We talk about free speech, basic fundamental right. And we go out there and we ask people, and actually you'd be surprised, a lot of people are actually against free speech. And if you don't speak the right speech, I guess, then you're hate speech now.
I don't understand that. How is somebody against free speech? Like, how is somebody saying, yes, I want to be muzzled? You're like, who does that?
Well, I think it goes down to it's the right type of speech. So if you have a conservative bend, then it's like, okay, we can't allow that. So that's the speech I think they're against. They're like for free speech if you fall into their
yeah, you can't say I want free speech if if I agree with it.
Yeah,
like that's not free speech. That's totally the opposite.
Well, that's why it's kind of funny when you go
These
to
are college kids.
when you go to college campuses, they have designated free speech zones. And one of the things we talk about is in the whole country, you're granted free speech. And it's one of those things on campus. They're like, no, it's the opposite. Yeah.
This country's soft. This country's soft.
Oh my gosh! Oh, God help us all. God help us. We're gonna need a lot of prayer. We're gonna need a lot of prayer.
Yes, we are.
Well, we're gonna get the pastor in here in a little bit. Pastor Jim Franklin will be coming in. We should. He might be coming in at the right time because it's not going good for us. Ask him, hey, biblically, and you know a lot about the Bible, John. You do a lot of work.
I do a lot of work at the mission. Yes.
You're
Have a class tomorrow morning.
humble guy. What can I ask you?
What?
Are you allowed to tell me?
What do I do with the mission?
Well, how is it being received at the mission? Do they know? Do you talk about politics?
At
You do?
times. Yeah, there's not like, I mean, if it's appropriate to talk about it. Yeah.
What do you say?
No, it just depends on the subject matter.
Yeah.
And then if there's an illustration that I can use that's based on politics, I'll use it. Whatever comes to my head.
And it's I know someone that works in California corrections.
Okay.
And they were telling me that the inmates they know politics. The inmates keep up.
I believe that.
They keep up.
Oh, I believe that. Absolutely.
And the correction officers are pretty conservative.
Yeah.
And just the stuff that you hear is just like, oh my goodness, give them a ballot, man. Get it out there. And then yesterday it was 3,000 police officers, I think, in LA were going to be anti-vax. Gavin Newsom has done a good job at pretty much opening people's eyes in virtually every single industry. But I hear snippets from everywhere, and it's like, oh my gosh. And that's why I got a good feeling in my gut, guys.
I hope you're right.
I don't know.
I hope you're right.
If it's wrong, I'll take
Believe
Tom's.
me, I'll be texting you first thing tomorrow morning. Dude, you called it.
You were right. Or you'll be like, Guillermo, you're wrong again.
No, I won't.
Yet another election that you don't call right.
Oh man.
All right, Matt. I want to play the next audio bit from our time here at Fresno State. Young gentleman here. Good. Great guy. Let's take it to the audio.
All right, well, that's good. It's good enough for me. All right.
I can't really provide much.
No? Do you know about the recall?
No, not really.
No?
I haven't studied it at all.
Do you know anything about politics? Gavin Newsom?
All right, well, hold on. That's not the.
No, that's the wrong clip,
That's
I
the
think.
wrong clip.
Oh,
I
man.
apologize here. Let me get my bearings straight here. I think
Well, while he's getting his bearings straight, like, are you allowed to tell us right now, like, what percentage of people did know who the governor was?
I gotta say probably 2 out of the 10 students we talked to.
20%.
Yeah, 20%. That's what I think. Guillermo, you could probably think about that. Most people didn't even realize there was an election or a recall race, and they actually didn't even know what the recall. Yeah,
for sure.
it was an over consensus of and it really I had some time to reflect on that. And yeah, do you have the clip now?
No, not yet. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
So they didn't know there was a recall. They don't know who the governor is. What were the things they were most concerned about?
Well, of course, we heard earlier, or we haven't even played the clip yet, but I know the environment was one of the big things.
Okay.
And I think we can kind of
So the
connect
wildfire
dots on
thing.
that.
They're smelling the smoke as they're being interviewed.
Yep.
So, of course.
All right, I got it. I'm proud of myself.
Oh, there we
I
go.
got
We got it? All right. I love these clips.
Here we go.
I just thought he handled the situation pretty well. So, like when COVID was going on, so I think they should recall him back.
Recall him.
Recall him back.
We call him back.
We call him back.
Give him a call. Tell him to come back.
I love this guy because he was like, no, recall him back. Like, bring him back. You and I were talking about, hey, it's confusing.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
what does the recall mean? Hey, just recall him back. Bring him back.
So he thought so because of the COVID, that he handled COVID.
Yeah.
Clearly, he doesn't own a business.
Just recall him back. Bring him back. Yeah.
Anything you think about the recall?
30 seconds, man. 30 seconds.
I just thought he handled the situation pretty well. So, like when COVID was going on, so I think they should recall him back.
Recall him. Well,
Recall him back?
This recall is actually to take him out of office.
Oh,
So
out
there's
of
40
office?
candidates.
No. We want to recall him back. Recall him back in it, right?
Yeah. No.
Keeping him in, so you're for in.
I'm for in. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what's your favorite thing that the governor's done?
I mean, I'm not really like that well informed into it. So what he did though, like, I remember seeing on the news like how he would like talk about the situation. He wanted us to keep us in and stuff. He like ordered the mask and everything. Like,
So, are you for the mask mandate?
I'm for the mask. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. What are your thoughts on current gas prices and food?
I'm here at Fresno State. I drive from Chowchilla, so it's a lot of gas.
Yeah, so he instituted a 50-cent gas tax this last year. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't like the gas though.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's something we could agree on, and I
Yeah,
think that's
for
something
sure.
to look at. And I think that's why a lot of people are mad about recalling him. And it's one of the levers in California that if you don't like something, you can recall a governor.
Recall him.
Yep.
Or recall him back.
Yeah, recall him back.
You do a good job there.
Yeah, no, and
he does.
You do an excellent job, man.
because the one thing is you pinpointed there is he's a commuter. So Chowchilla, he has to drive every single day.
big
Yeah.
Now we're looking at gas prices at $5 here. I don't even want to see what Santa Monica
Yeah.
is now because
Oh,
even
boy.
Santa Monica earlier this year was already $6, and that was right when the gas tax
Yep,
happened.
yep,
So I don't
yep.
even. They're probably $7, $8 now, and
No, for sure. Matt's going to be joining us still in the next hour. Alan Autry, Jim Franklin coming up. Oh, man, we're an hour and some change away. Is he going to be recalled? Hey, so Facebook audience, we're going to cut off again the feed, and then we'll rejoin at the top.